Hello everyone. In this lecture, we will see an important concept in the computer networks, which is OSI model. It means that open system interconnection. And upon the completion of this session, you will be able to understand about the OSI reference model, and we will list various layers in the OSI reference model, and we will understand how each layers interact with other layers. Okay. What is OSI model? It is open system interconnection which deals with open system, and the system opens for communication with other system, that is intercommunication of networks. It was specified in ISO, that is International Standardization for Organization, in the year 1984, and there are 7 layers in OSI model. We will see in the upcoming slides. And it is used to reduce the design complexity. Most of the network layers are organized as a series of layers or levels, each one built up upon one below the other. Okay, before we start, we will see what is layering. Layering is, it means that decomposing the problem of building a computer network into more manageable components, and we can call these manageable components as layers. So the problem of building a computer network, it is a big one. So we are decomposing that into a smaller ones. We call it as a layers. So we have two benefits. One, it provides a modular design, and another one is it is easy to troubleshoot. Now we will move on to the purpose of reference model. The purpose of reference model is it is to facilitate the communication between two systems. Okay, when I say two systems, it means two different systems without requiring changes to the logic of underlying the hardware and software. I will elaborate it now. We are going to establish a communication between two systems, that is two different systems. It means that two different computers with two different operating systems, even two different devices with two different functionalities. So in terms of hardware, and also maybe different in terms of software also. So two different systems are going to communicate with each other with the help of, with the guidelines provided by the OSI model, that is OSI reference model. So we do not require any changes to the logic of the underlying hardware and software. Okay, now we will see what are the various layers in the OSI model. Basically there are 7 layers in the OSI reference model: application layer, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, and physical layer. And the first layer of OSI model is the physical layer, and the topmost layer is the application layer. And we should not change the order of these layers. Okay, and these first 4 layers, the upper layers, which is related to the, which has the responsibility of the host, and the lower layers, network, data link, and physical layer, which has the responsibilities of the network. As far as the OSI model is concerned, the order of layers are very important, and we should not change the order of the layers. It is very important question for your examination also. So the order of the layers are very important. So okay, how to remember these layers? I'll just provide you a shortcut now. Just note the sentence, that is, please do not throw sausage pizza away. Okay, so this P stands for physical, and do it stands for data link, and N it stands for network, and T stands for transport, S sausage for session, and this PISA, that the P stands for presentation and A for application. Okay, when we remember this sentence, we can easily remember this layer. The order of these layers without changing it, there may be a small confusion only. There are two different P's, that is physical and presentation. So the bottom layer, the lower layer and the first layer of OSI model is physical, and the top layer, the upper layer, no, the sixth layer, it is the presentation layer. Now we will see how each layer interact with other layers. Okay, actually these layers, no, the first four layers, which is upper layers, and the bottom three layers are lower layers. And as I told you, these first layer, application, presentation, session, which are responsibility of the host, and the lower layers of responsibility of the network. And the upper layer of the OSI model mainly deals with the application related issues. They are implemented only in the software. And the lower layers, no, this network layer, data link layer, and physical layer, it deals with the data transport issue. They are implemented in the hardware and the software. Okay, now we will see about the functionalities of each layers. As I told you already, there are seven layers, and the seventh layer is the application layer. And this layer enables the users to access the network, and it handles issues such as remote transparency, resource allocation, and this allows the user to log on to the remote user. And some of the responsibilities of these layers are file transfer access management, which is it allows the user to access files in a remote host. And it also provides mail services, directory services, and it provides the database source to access information from various source and objects. And the next is the sixth layer, that is presentation layer. And this layer is concerned with the syntax and semantics of information which is exchanged between two systems. The responsibilities of this presentation layers are translation, encryption and decryption, compression and expansion. So translation means the different computers use different encoding systems, and this layer is responsible for interoperability between these different encoding methods, and it will change the message into a common format. And the next is encryption and decryption is the second functionality, that is data encryption and data compression. The encryption, it means that the sender transforms the original information to another form, and sends the resulting message over the network, and also in vice versa. And data compression means the compression, it reduces the number of bits contained in the information, particularly in text, audios, and videos. And the next type is session layer, and this is the fifth layer in our OSI model. And this layer, which it enables, manages, and terminates the connection between the applications. And the responsibility of the session layer are dialog control and synchronization. So the dialog control means that the session layer, it acts as a dialog controller. It creates a dialogue between two processes, or we can say that it allows the communication between two processes, and which will be either half duplex or full duplex. Next functionality about the session layer is synchronization. And the synchronization is the session layer adds some checkpoints when transmitting the data in a sequence. If some error occurs in the middle of the transmission of the data, then this transmission will take place again from the checkpoints. So this process is also known as the synchronization and reference. So the two functionalities of the session layer is dialog control and synchronization. And okay, the fourth layer of OSI model is transport layer. So it is this transport layer, no, it is responsible for process to process delivery, and that is it is responsible for source to destination, that is end to end delivery of the entire message. It also ensures whether the message arrives in an order or not. And other responsibilities of this transport layers, that is other functionalities of this transport layer, no, that is it has port addressing, segmentation reassembly, connection control, flow control, and error control. That is port addressing, it means that the header includes an address called port address or service port address. This layer gets an entire message to the correct process on the computer. Next, connection control, it means that this it can either be connectionless or connection oriented. So connectionless means it treats each segment as an individual packet and delivers it to the destination. If it is connection oriented means the connection to the destination side before the delivery and after the delivery terminates will the termination will be terminated. Next is flow control. The transport layer also responsible for flow control, but it is performed end to end rather than across the single link. And next comes the third layer, that is network layer. And this network layer, it is responsible for delivering of packets from source to destination, and it determines the best path to move data from source to the destination, and it is based on the network conditions, that the priority of service and other factors and other responsibilities of these layers are logic addressing and routing. So I told you know this addressing, it manages the addressing and routing of the data within the subnet, and routing is also another functionality of network layer. So logical addressing means if a packet passes the network boundary, we need to we need another addressing system for source and destination, that is called logical addressing, and this addressing is used to identify the device on the internet. So to identify the device on the internet we need logical addressing, and to find the best path we need this routing. Okay, this routing is the major component of the network layer, and it determines the best to optimal path of the multiple paths from source to the destination. And the next layer is data link layer, and the purpose and the functionality of data link layer is it is responsible for transmitting frames from one node to the next node. And the other responsibilities of this data link layer are framing, physical addressing, flow control, error control, and MAC, that is media access control. And this framing, no, it used to divide the streams of bit received into a data units called frames. And the next layer, that is layer 1. The first layer of OSI layer is physical layer. And the physical layer, it coordinates the functions required to transmit a bit stream over a physical medium, and it transmits bit from one computer to another, and it regulates the transmission of streams of bits over physical medium. And some of the functionalities of physical layer are physical characteristics of interfaces and media, representations of bits, data rate or transmission rate, synchronization, line configuration, and then physical topology. It means that in the signal it determines the type of signal used for transmitting the information, that is multi-point or point to point, and the data rate or transmission rate, the number of bits sent each second is also defined by the physical layer. And in the physical topology, it defines how these devices are connected to make network devices. It can be connected using mesh, star, bus, ring and topology. And this is about OSI reference model. We have seen about these 7 layers and what is this OSI model, that is open system interconnection, and it was introduced by ISO in the year 1984, and there are 7 layers, that is physical to application layer. And I hope now you have understood what is OSI reference model, and I hope now you will be able to list various layers of OSI reference model in the correct order, and we know each layers interact with other layers, and I hope the session is informative also. And thank you.